Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a fabulous Friday here in the studio as I record. And as always, I'm grateful to be back with each and every one of you. Hope you are doing well wherever you are receiving this broadcast. And today I'm going to do something that I've been doing off and on for 3-4 months now. Reading from, or pulling a card rather, from the Untethered Soul deck by Michael Singer based on the book with the same name. And it's been a great exercise. I've really enjoyed. Well, first off, the book is amazing, really great book, and being able to just pull cards with quotes from the book, play with the universe, if you will, by seeing what wants to come up, what wants to come through for the episode on a given day, and just kind of riff about that particular insight or topic. Just a very cool way to explore, and that's what we're going to do. If you haven't caught any of those episodes, we actually had a really cool thing happen a few months ago where I had only pulled, there's 52 cards in the deck. I'd only pulled maybe 5 ever doing this particular, sort of exercise, if you will. And I pulled 3 out of 5 that I'd already pulled on previous episodes. So it's like, I'm pretty sure this message wants to come through. And it was cool. So a few since those days as well. And going to pull a few others today. So without further ado, let's pull a few cards today and see what wants to come through. Maybe we'll get a few. I think we've done, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total at this point. Out of 52 here, so let's see. Maybe I'll pull 7 and all the same 7 will come up again. Let's see what's going to come up. Beyond is infinite in all directions. Wow, that's an interesting one. Beyond is infinite in all directions. What do I say about that? What does that bring up for me? What does that invoke in me? What does that invoke in you? I think of the channeling that I read a while back. Channelings from Beyond the Beyond. And it was from a book called The Psychic Explorer that really cool. One of the first books I ever got as I started to have my own spiritual awakening. It talks about astral projection and astral travel and out-of-body experience. And then there's a bunch of channelings at the back, a message from the Earth Spirit, you might remember. Or you can go to positivehead.com and search these, by the way, from the Psychic Explorer. They're really cool, kind of short channelings. And the message from the Beyond, I kind of remember at the beginning, it's like, what can we say about, beyond the beyond anything you can fathom? And that's, and it goes on as this message representing that energy comes through. Infinite in all directions, right? It's such a wild thing for us to consider the concept that it's one thing to be to have 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years or 1 billion years or 1 trillion years, right? The idea of infinite is no time, right? That's our minds can't even really comprehend that timeless state. That's what infinite is. It always has been and always will be. You've always been, always have been, and always will be. And that is, it's mind melting to even, tap into the idea that you imagine, using years is the only way we can kind of grasp at it. And like thinking a billion Earth years ago, you existed and were engaged in life in some way, shape, or form, right? And a billion Earth years from now, the same. All directions. It never, infinity never isn't. It's a circle, and you're on the circle, and there's no beginning, there's no end, and round and round and round it goes. And so, you start thinking of that, and then you start thinking of all the time crunches and, worries that we come up with. And, you're floating in eternity with nowhere to go, nothing to do. Like Ram Dass says, you eventually realize we're all just sitting around the fire together, telling stories. That's in essence what your soul is doing, sitting around the fire for eternity, telling stories. And that brings, it's almost intimidating, but it also brings so much relief. Like there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. There's nothing you have to accomplish. You've already done it all, or will do it all, and have. It's all happening now in the eternal now. It's all happening on a different channel. There's nothing, you can't fall through the cracks, right? You are the beyond. You are infinite in all directions. You are a piece of that. And, you're not, a drop in the ocean. The ocean is in the drop. You are a drop in the ocean, but the ocean is in the drop, rather, right? You're both simultaneously. This divine dichotomy of being, everything and nothing from another perspective, less than a grain of sand, and the perspective of the cosmos and how infinitely small we are. The Earth is just looking at the physical universe, and yet the whole is contained. And that's really what a fractal is. We talk about the fractal nature of the universe. It's the same thing and the same thing. If you look at an atom, it looks, just the protons and electrons and neutrons, all that stuff is circling around the nucleus, just like the solar system. It's the same thing at scale, and at a different scale. And so, it's all the same thing nested within the same thing, nested within the same thing, and on it goes. So all of the information is encoded within itself, right? And that is just such an fascinating thing. I just saw Nassim Haramein, who was a guest on the show several years back. I actually didn't read the article, but I wanted to, and it was like, I think he was saying an atom or cell, I can't remember exactly which, is nothing but, a smaller black hole. And then there was a whole article about that. He's a quantum physicist, and just really fascinating to start to have these realizations about how it's all structured. And, it really is like you can just put down the fight, stop struggling to get somewhere and learn to let it flow, learn to let it come to you. I don't know, some of you I'm sure have looked into human design, which is a really interesting sort of modality like astrology or destiny cards or, any of these different ways to understand yourself. And it's one that a lot of people are really fascinated with. And myself, I'm a generator in human design. And so it's like a generator, we're supposed to wait for inputs, things to come to us. So I really like that because, what I find is when I let things come to me, it instantly inspires my creativity. Like you bring me a issue or a problem, and it's like my mind just goes like idea, how to solve it, what to do now, but it's waiting for that input as opposed to chasing, right? Now, other types are more supposed to, according to human design philosophy, are supposed to be more like manifesting generators, a little different. It's supposed to be a little more proactive and, et cetera. But for me, I really get, as someone who's done a lot of reaching out and going in directions and hitting dead ends and lots of dead ends and things, from trying to force instead of allowing things to come to me and then following that flow. And I think in some degree for all of us, there's a piece of that, whatever your human design is learning how to read the energy and realizing you don't have to go or do anything. I mean, think about it. You've already existed for eternity, and here you are surviving. You've had enough of what you needed to get to this moment, and you will always, if there's something you don't like, something you don't prefer that's happening, guess what? The only thing guaranteed is change. If there's something that you love that's happening, change is guaranteed. So you better learn to be present and actually appreciate it, right? So yeah, beyond is infinite in all directions. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Talkspace. As a listener of this podcast, you know it's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness, because when you work on yourself, you'll start to see and feel positive changes in all areas of your life. When it comes to getting help via therapy, Talkspace makes it super convenient to get affordable mental health care from the comfort of your home that's in network for most insurers. Your therapist can help you set and achieve your goals, and you don't need to wait until something goes wrong in your life to work with someone. Talkspace is there to help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. And as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/positive. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/positive to get $100 off your first month. That's Talkspace.com/positive. All right, let's pull one more here. Okay, here we go. The more you sit in the self, the more you will begin to feel an energy that you have never experienced before. It comes up from behind rather than in front, where you experience your mind and emotions. That's good. That's that's really in line with what I was just saying about allowing things to come to you. Let me read it one more time. The more you sit in the self, the more you'll begin to feel an energy that you have never experienced before. It comes up from behind rather than in front, where you experience your mind and emotions. So any of you who've ever meditated know what he's getting at here. You can feel like an energy rising within you when you are sitting with yourself. And it's sort of this pausing, creating a sacred pause instead of, action, go, go, go. And a lot of us can be shoot, ready, aim, shoot, aim, ready. And this is a cool one. I really love the synchronicity, the timing of pulling this one after what I was just talking about. Like learning to read the energy, right? Learning to read the energy. That's what I was saying before I pulled this one, and allowing it to learn how to read the subtle energies instead of all the chatter and movement and noise. And I need to do something. I need to figure it out. I need to know where I'm going, or else I'm going to not be good enough, and I'm not going to survive, and the bad things, and and all the story. Like, stop. You are enough. You are upheld. Allow the energy, the subtle energy, to move in you and come up from behind rather than in front. All the noise, learning to be more, move into that receptive state instead of constantly transmitting, right? We are transmitters and receivers. We're really good at transmitting. The receiving part, most of us use practice at. I know I can. So I like this one a lot. This is really powerful. And as we learn to tap in and read those more subtle energies, it's kind of like opening up a whole new world, a Pandora's box of information and insight and intuition and clairvoyance and, all the seeing the synchronicities and patterns, because we're not so busy, chattering or allowing the chatter in our minds and, being busy bees just to, try and feel good enough and worthy. And you create space for things to unfold, right? You're creating that spaciousness is so important, especially for those of you like me who are, so driven to do and accomplish and make things happen. And the more I've learned to create spaciousness, is like oftentimes by doing that, it's like resting or receiving is way more productive. I've noticed when I take a time off or take a break, instead of feeling guilty, it's like I really am there with it and enjoy it. And then all of a sudden, an input of energy and a phone call or an email or whatever that just moved the ball forward way more than if I had grinded all day trying to achieve something, right? So, this gets into the next level of understanding energy and who you are and what you are and where your place is, and tapping into that confidence, trusting the mystery, trusting the process that's unfolding in your life. It's everything, and it's the next level of who and what we're meant to become. It's the next level of interacting in a way that helps to create that next level experience that we're all seeking, right? We're all desiring, we're all reaching for what is next. What can we do to become the next greatest and greatest version of ourselves? And that is a big, big piece of the puzzle, I would say. All right, folks. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. This has been cool. Really enjoyed pulling, as always, from this deck. Still many cards I haven't pulled yet, so we'll probably get to them over the next year or so, perhaps. Otherwise, I do have a song to leave you with. Someone I just had the pleasure of seeing down at Envision Festival in Costa Rica, which was pretty epic, by the way. This is the artist is Frameworks. The song is called Circles. Hope you enjoy. Till next time, journey well.